Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Freedom marchers, freedom family, freedom lovers, and freedom fighters. It is the so called new year, but in reality, we know the new year is not until the spring equinox, but it is what it is. The Hobby Kai was good. Happy New Year. Happy fake New Year to you, brother. Cameron Herndon, what's up? What's good? What's good? What's good? Tyrus Bane here. Snaps of the Gorilla. Yeah. Yep. Very interesting events have occurred. Very interesting. And when you dive into the situation, it gets even more interesting. Kelvin Black was good. Unleavened Evan, what is good? Happy chronologically arbitrary demarcation day. Exactly, Unleavened Evan. Exactly. Jay with open eyes, what is good? Oh yes, they most certainly did. Did they not? Jay with open eyes for. Did they not start off with a bang? Literally. Two bangs. Well, multiple bangs. The Abakai said, did you see Louisiana declared the state of a new emergency? And Trump Hotel got hit with the Tesla. Yeah, that's what this live stream is about. That is what this is about. Yeah, y'all. Listen. I talked about the possibilities, right? Of what may happen. I said there may be some events that would occur and all that good shit. You know, I told everybody to keep an eye out, be safe, be aware, especially if you're in crowds. You are going to high profile places. You just gotta stay vigilant, y'all. Yeshua's return. I ain't seen you in a minute. Yeshua's return said it's all fake and so bogus. Nobody does stuff like that. So they have to to flag of the false kind. Yes. I do believe that. But, just based on historical data. Just based on historical data. Who Bumblebee Seafood says allegedly they predicted this weeks ago. Yeah, I mean, it's at this point they're very predictable. They're very predictable, right? Jay with Omanage 4 said, did you catch this year starts with the first 3 days of what WTF? No, I did not catch that, but leave it up to Jay with Omanage 4 to catch it for sure. I mean, listen, we're gonna go through this, man. We're gonna go through the news. We're gonna dive a little bit deep into it and see what's going on. And yeah. So yeah, as you guys know, uh there was a what they're calling a terrorist attack in New Orleans. What was it, last night or the night before? When did it exactly happen? I believe it happened yeah, right at 3 a.m. 3 a.m. There was a what they're calling it a terrorist attack. They're calling it a terrorist attack that happened in New Orleans. And they have the name of a suspect, and they have information on the suspect. That's what I really wanted to learn about, right? You know, you guys, this guy, he hopped on the sidewalk, passed the police car, started plowing into people, killed 10 of them, and injured 35. And when he got out, he started blasting at the police. They got in the shootout. Apparently, he wounded 2 police officers, and there was that. And yeah, I think he was killed. And that's interesting. I haven't seen that pop out yet, like whether or not he died. Yeah, it happened this morning, 3:35 a.m. And you know what though? I had the weirdest case of deja vu because I could have sworn I heard about this happening the day before. That's why I was like, it either happened last night or the night before. But at 3:35 a.m., I could have sworn I heard about this yesterday, right? But at I'm on the same time zone as New Orleans. And at 3:35, I was asleep. And when I heard about this, it was I could have sworn I heard about it yesterday, but maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I'm going through the Mandela effect. The Habakkuk asked, you reckon 2025 going to be when it all kicks off for real? I don't know. I mean, it's always wise to be prepared for it to kick off at any moment, right? For the SHTF situation, right? And it might not be nationwide. It might be a certain state, might be a certain city. Just like last year, we had a shit hit the fan situation in North Carolina, right? For those people in North Carolina, right, where that mine is, where the cobalt mine is, right, the one they had to shut down indefinitely, right? That was a shit hit the fan situation for them. They still going through it up in North Carolina. I was actually supposed to possibly start a job up there, a construction site. Exactly, got to be prepared regardless. So they had their shit hit the fan situation last year with that upside down hurricane, right? The upside down hurricane where they had an ocean in the air in order to carry the hurricane all the way that far inland. You can't have a hurricane that far inland. But there was a hurricane going on in North Carolina, in Asheville, that went all the way up through South Carolina, Georgia, South Carolina, talking about west, way far west from the ocean, even though it started in the Gulf of Mexico, started in the Gulf, went all the way up through goddamn uh, Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, upside down hurricanes and shit. So they had their shit hit the fan in situation in Asheville. So you gotta look micro and macro. So yeah, this guy in New Orleans ran over 10 people, got out and started shooting at motherfuckers, wounded 2 police officers. But mind you, all the killing happened while he was in the truck plowing people, right? He did not have to use the firearm to kill 10 people. Just to make that clear, right? Before they start trying to demonize firearms. Hurricanes always hit Tennessee. Well, hurricane remnants, right? The hurricane don't hit Tennessee. The storm, right? The storm that brought the hurricane the storm that was part of the hurricane goes to Tennessee. In order for there to be a hurricane, you need warm water, warm sea water, not, you need warm ocean water, and you need low pressure in the atmosphere mixed together. Okay. So typically when there is a hurricane, because hurricane storms, the storms that come from the hurricane or the storms that form the hurricane often reach Columbia, South Carolina, Atlanta, Georgia, but you get a lot of wind and rain and all that stuff. But you're not getting the waves and waves of water and all that other shit. You might get some floods, flash floods here and there, but a whole hurricane does not go that far inland. There are specific things you need for an actual hurricane. For it to be an actual hurricane, it can't, you can't get a hurricane from a lake, so to speak. So yeah, you might get the storm that carried the hurricane in Tennessee, but you're not getting the actual hurricane. But I see what you're saying. Habakkuk says, and it's crazy that we ain't heard nothing about the Ohio train crash, which pretty much set off I didn't even know about that. Got to look into that too. Yes, it's a lot of shit going on. Probably a lot of shit is going on this year, next 3 years. Yes, Jay with open eyes for it. Tennessee won't get hit with a hurricane by itself because it's not near the coast. Exactly. It will get remnants of the storm. Exactly. You can't get a hurricane without. Oh, my bad, Bumblebee. Oh, you're being sarcastic. Right. I'm sarcastic as well. Probably because I'm not familiar with you. You're new to the chat probably. But yeah, I mean, I okay. So you're being sarcastic for sure. Yeah, I got you. Oh yeah, Tennessee. The hurricane reached Tennessee as well, but it was an actual hurricane, an atmospheric hurricane. That's what they call it, right? You know how they have atmospheric rivers, atmospheric oceans, and whatnot. But that's a phenomenon that does not occur. But it is what it is, y'all. I mean, they're not going to tell you none of that. Yeah, Jay, well, when I was about to wild out, man, I was like, well, hold on, killer. But you're not supposed to get hurricanes in Tennessee. You're not supposed to get hurricanes that far inland. But it appeared there was an upside down hurricane. Get what I'm saying? Right? Like all this seawater got into the atmosphere and was carried over the country, right? So now that's what happened. Now there's a few more interesting details about this New Orleans situation, right? Um, and let's talk about what the identity of the terrorist. We can call him a terrorist now because that's what they're calling him. So that's what we're going to do, right? We're going to call this guy a terrorist a terrorist. Um, Investigators have identified Sam Shamsud Din Jabbar. Very interesting name. Wasn't a big tornado, was a small one? Right. We had many tornadoes last time for Houston. Yeah, a lot of hurt. Yeah, a lot of tornadoes. Yeah, you'll get tornadoes too. So yeah, the storms will bring about tornadoes and all that stuff. Yeah. So the guy's name is Shamsud Din Jabbar. Okay. Very interesting name there. But he is a U.S. Army veteran. A U.S. Army veteran. Yeah. The terrorist was a U.S. Army veteran. Isn't that interesting? I believe I mentioned quite a few times how they are going to try to demonize military veterans, right? They're going to try and clamp down on military veterans, and because they know that veterans are trained, and they know that veterans have a certain skill set, and that they can encourage and rally people around them, and you know help get other people trained and prepared. You know, so yeah, this guy. I wouldn't be surprised if he had a manifesto. This Jabbar character, but yeah, U.S. Army veteran. Yeah, right. U.S. Army veteran. Now, what's even more interesting to me is that you know he had an F-1 Lightning truck. He had a firearm, right, that he used. Yet, Unleavened Evans says military veterans figure out what the government is before me. Yeah, because we are familiar with certain strategies, so to speak, right? We're familiar with certain strategies. Oh, they were saying there was an ISIS flag. Well, yeah, they said the same thing about some other guy, some other attack. I think it was a few weeks ago that he was an ISIS sympathizer, right? I forgot exactly what that was. I think it was where was that? But there's so much of this bullshit going on with these attacks, right? That you kind of get lost in the sauce about it. But what's interesting is this guy they said officials are looking into at least two improvised explosive devices, IEDs. Yes, that may be planted near the incident area to see if there were actual explosive devices and if they were operable, right? Investigators do not believe Jabbar was solely responsible. Now, this is key. He was not solely responsible for the attack and they have asked for the public's assistance. So that means they believe this guy was working with other motherfuckers, right? And I told you guys that they have been allowing all these motherfuckers to come into this country, right? All willy-nilly without being vetted. Just come on in, come on, come all. That's what Biden said, basically, right? 3 years ago. 4 years ago, Biden said, come on, come all. Yeah, come on through. Allowed these motherfuckers to flood in here. Allowed all these cats come in, all this shit. And then, of course, things like this occur. But the guy who did this particular incident, that performed this particular attack, is a U.S. military veteran. But his buddies, the guys that they're saying that he might be working with, they may not be, right? They may not be U.S. citizens. And with Jay with Open Eyes 4 informing us that he had an ISIS flag, well, they're painting a picture that there may be some foreign nationals that plan to attack, that plan to commit more terrorist attacks in this country. Now, the improvised explosive devices that they say that they found, right? That they're trying to see if they're operable. They were planted near the incident area. So clearly, this guy or him and his cohorts had more things planned out. Now, the explosives did not go off, right? Clearly, but they're trying to see if they're operable. So this guy did not have these things in his vehicle, these IEDs. They were planted nearby, right? So that's interesting to see. Oh, and then look at this guy. Look at this guy. This is him. That's the man. That is the man. Now, let me ask y'all a question. Because the United States government is always in our business. Bumblebee Seafood says the military guys know how shady they are from 2 minutes after they sign the contract. Yeah. The Habakai said, I just got notification just 10 people just got gunned down in Montenegro. In the Balkans part of Europe? Damn. I definitely got to look into that. Jimmy Nguyen says 9/11. Yeah. So let me ask y'all something. The government, they know how to, they all in your business. They know everything about you. Especially military veterans. Not very difficult to find out whether a veteran was honorably or dishonorably discharged. So why is it that they're saying he may have been honorably discharged? How come you don't know that? How come you don't know if he's honorably discharged or not? What? You don't know that about them? He has a criminal record. He had been previously charged in 2002 for misdemeanor theft, in 2005 for driving with an invalid license. Civil records show Jabbar was married twice, with his first marriage ending in 2012, a petition for the second divorce in 2021. A woman who identified herself as Jabbar's sister and asked to not be named said relatives in Texas were in shock when they heard the news. Of course they were. Oh, yeah, he's the nicest person I've ever known. She don't know what happened. All right. So she said some family members were heading from Texas to New Orleans. Mm-mm-mm. So what? Federal officials and local law enforcement in New Orleans are investigating if Den Jabbar used a long gun rifle, and fired it into the crowd as he ran people over. Did y'all hear what I just read? They're trying to determine, they're investigating if Den Jabbar used a long rifle and fired it into the crowd as he ran people over. Oh, they going, oh man. They really got to bring the gun into it. They really got to bring the firearm into it. Oh yeah. They got to. Oh, we have to implicate this firearm. We have to put some blame on the firearm. So we have to investigate if he was firing it while he was driving. Oh man, yeah. They're gonna find a way. They're gonna find a way to blame the gun. They're gonna find a way to blame the rifle. Oh, we're investigating to see if he was firing into the crowd. Man. Oh boy. Oh boy. So there we have that. Bumblebee's Seafoods asked great question. Why would you use both weapons? You wouldn't. Why? What? Was he firing into the crowd as he was running people over? Come on, man. Come on. And if he was, you're running people over in a truck, right? And as you're running people over, you're being jostled and bounced all over the place. You're not going to be using it effectively. But of course, they got to bring the firearm into it because the people he killed with the truck. Wait, hold on. Wait, now they're saying 15 people were killed. What is going on here? All right, they're saying 15 people were killed. They're saying at least 15 people. All right. He was driving at a high rate of speed, leaving at least 15 dead and injured dozens. So they're saying now he killed 15 people. It looked like the dude's still alive. Yeah, so people that were hospitalized, I guess 5 more died since the incident. They postponed the Sugar Bowl. That's got to be interesting. Yeah. So they have 15 people. 15 people dead, they're saying now. Whether or not they're still trying to investigate, I don't know what they're going to determine about. Yeah. So he rented the truck through an app, just so y'all know. People use both weapons sometimes. Where at, Cameron? Where have people used? You're hang. First of all, a long gun is a long gun. So is he holding it outside from? Is he driving inside and holding it, or is he hanging out the window and shooting as he's driving? Either way, it's not going to be effective. I'm not saying he can't use both. It's just not going to be effective. I can guarantee you. I can, he probably those 15 people probably all died from being struck by the vehicle. So, even if he did do that, what it wouldn't be effective. 1975, worst year of my life. Trump won't make us any safer. I agree. He won't. How can he? And he's not responsible for our safety. You know who's responsible for our safety? We are. Trump can do what he can to, working with the Department of Justice and working with his executive branches to do some stuff. But ultimately, your safety is up to you. You, even if Trump can make things a little bit safer to a certain degree, yeah, you can't count on that. Bumblebee says most likely there was a sniper on the roof, but I'm not sure if anybody was struck by any rifle rounds or whatever outside of those police officers when he got out and had the shootout. He did. When he stopped driving, he got out and started shooting. They're saying. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm. So yeah, just like I said, guys, you guys got to be wait, I had you just got to be vigilant. You guys got to be careful. You know what I'm saying? You guys got to be when you guys are out hanging out with your family. You always got to stay vigilant. You always got to be aware. Um, this is the perfect storm right now. Mr. Duke in here on that bullshit, of course, but we're not gonna worry about him. I don't think we're gonna worry about him. Exactly. So Trump, yeah, I mean, he might do some stuff. He might deport some people. He might, you know, shut down some terrorist cells and all that stuff. But I mean, it is what it is. You know. So now, what happened? Something else happened after that, where a cybertruck explosion at a Trump hotel in Las Vegas. They're considering it a possible terrorist attack. So here we have another potential terrorist attack that occurred in Las Vegas. This time, a Cybertruck pulled up to the front doors of the Trump Hotel and it started smoking and then it blew up, right? So that's what they're saying. The driver pulled into the valet area. This is 20 this is from the ABC article. The driver pulled into the valet area of the hotel and the vehicle exploded. The driver is dead. So yeah, the driver's dead. And he was the only casualty. So no one died other than him from that. There were multiple people with minor injuries, but that was it. Okay. Blacks who support white supremacy. He says Trump ain't shit. I would agree. So, yeah, Tesla Cybertruck. Now, Cameron asked the question, how did the Cybertruck explode? On its own or a bomb planet? Well, I'm about to get into that. Jay with open eyes for it. It don't work like it don't work. It don't work. You can try it, you can make an attempt, but it's not gonna be effective. Like you're better off just trying to do it with the truck because the gun is gonna be doing all this and hopping up and down. You're not gonna get you're not gonna no one is that good. Yes, Jay with open eyes for it. Those are troll accounts. Bumblebee Seafood says they really hate Trump, which makes me start to think maybe he will do something. He'll do something because that's how they're going to convince people that he is going to do something. You see what I'm saying? Like, they're going to allow something to happen. They're going to allow Trump. Trump is going to do something, of course, because they want you to think that, a president is effective. Like, a president is for you. So they're going to let him do some things that are going to appear to be good shit. But at the end of the day, it's going to be orchestrated. It's going to be pre-planned. It's going to be pre-planned solutions to give you the impression that the system works, right? Trump is going to come through and clean up the system, right? He's going to implement his own thing, right? He's going to have his administration. His administration is going to be looked at as badass, and they're going to, which is going to encourage you to go out and continue to vote, continue to submit your submit your suggestions and all that stuff. Submit your consent to be governed. That's what it's going to do. It's going to encourage you to continue to consent to be governed. So of course, Trump is going to do some things, right? Under Trump, good things are going to happen. So yeah. J194 says he'll do something in the political theater, but it won't actually be him. They'll just have him take exactly. Make Trump to look like he's a hero. Yeah, exactly. Black people who support white supremacy. Exactly. They will. Yes, Trump is going to look good. Just like he looked good before COVID. Did I say this? I said the C word, but I shouldn't get hit too hard for it because I'm not talking about it in particular. Just like they had him do some good stuff. They had him, the economy got boosted because of him, right? That's what they want you to think. Even though people are trying to say, oh, it was Obama and it takes years. And no, certain things go into effect immediately. Certain things affect the economy immediately. Certain actions of political motherfuckers occur immediately, especially depending on the executive actions that they take. Just like when Biden shut down the Keystone Pipeline, immediately tens of thousands of people were affected, right? The workers, the people that were working on the pipeline, they lost their jobs. They lost hundreds of thousands of dollar a year jobs, right? The oil futures crashed because of that. So a lot of things went into effect immediately. So when they tell you, no, it takes years, no, it's bullshit. No, shit happens immediately. So it is what it is, right? Just like the oil leases. They would not renew oil leases for 2 or 3 years in the Biden administration. This greatly affected the economy. They would not allow the shipping ports to open back up, right? Without going through all the rigmarole. And of course, our economy is tied to foreign goods. So when they did not allow the shipping ports to open back up, the Biden administration, that affected the economy. So these are things that happen immediately. Exactly. And even though the pipeline, it was not producing oil yet, it was not producing oil, but they weren't transporting oil from Canada yet. The future, right? The future benefits, the projections, it helps the economy now. So with this in mind, with the Keystone Pipeline being completed in mind, it actually helped the economy, right? So when they tell you, oh, no, it don't go, man, it's completely utter bullshit. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. But again, that was, in my mind, orchestrated, right? This is what they wanted to happen because they can't have constant good times, right? Certain things have to happen in order for you to tell them to step in and do something. And as long as you're telling them to step in and do shit, they have to make it, they have to do the peaks and valleys, the peaks and valleys, the peaks and valleys. They have to do it. Bill Clinton had a surplus. A surplus. What happened? Motherfucking George W. came through. And then by the time he was done, we were in a hellified deficit. You understand? And then Obama came through and made the deficit worse. Trump came in, he reduced the climb of the deficit, but then guess what? Modelo 19 happened. So the deficit and the debt kept going up. This is what they want to happen. You understand? This is what they want to happen. These things were going to happen no matter who's in office. But they got to give you the impression that it happens because they're in office in order to keep us allowing our consent to be governed, right? Given our consent, we have to give our consent in order to give. For if we want to give our consent, we got to know you're doing something. We got to. Well, why should I consent to be governed by you if you're not doing shit? So, Bumblebee Seafood says Trump was with. Yes, he was. He was with Elon. Yes, he was. Now, Bumblebee, you're new to my channel. No, I don't think it was a message to Trump, but they want you to appear that it was a message to Trump. You get what I'm saying? They want you to believe that it was a message to Trump and Elon, right? Now, yes, Trump was with Elon. And yes, it was a Tesla cybertruck at one of Trump's buildings. Yeah, I mean, yes. Everything has to line up like that, of course. Yeshua's return, I don't buy the BS either. I don't buy it either. They're constantly playing these games. Yeshua's return, I agree. But here's the interesting thing. I'm not getting necessarily why it blew up, but it says the driver pulled into the area. Yeah, I read that. Now it says investigators do not know what caused the blast, such as whether it's something wrong with the vehicle or whether something external prompted it. Determining what was behind the explosion is the key focus of the probe. An official briefed on the probe told ABC News that the Tesla Cybertruck had a load of fireworks-style mortars on board. Y'all know what a mortar is? A mortar is like a launcher, okay? Or yeah, so the mortar, it consists of a launcher and a missile, right? So they're saying there was a load of fireworks style mortars on board. Yeah, in the Tesla truck. So, I mean, this is artillery, right? They're saying there was artillery on board of the Cybertruck. Investigators are urgently working to determine the motive and whether the driver intended to set off an explosion and why. Now, are the mortars still intact? It doesn't say that, but I can venture to guess that they're going to probably tell you guys that the intent was to have the truck blow up, which would trigger an explosion of the mortars. But that's not how mortars work, right? They need a certain amount of pressure, right? When they hit to necessarily explode like that. I don't think that, there probably was not enough for those mortars to explode. There probably was not enough contact or pressure to the nose of the mortar, right? The mortar missile. So, but when I was in the Army, I was not artillery. I was infantry. So, I don't know too much about mortars, but, Jimmy Newton says you drop it and it shoots the motor. J1 Omanaj 4 said, just a reminder that the exact same day Trump signed off on his trade deal with China, the first case of the China virus was reported. Yeah, that is what happened. For people that think Trump isn't another puppet used to take part in their sick jokes over the American people. Yeah, facts. Jimmy Nguyen says that's not how mortar works. Media, yeah. People who play Battlefield games know how mortar works without going to the military. Yeah, listen, but see, that's the thing. Yes, you drop the explosive thing into the motor and it shoots. Yes, that's how it works. So it has to make a certain amount of contact before it explodes, right? Like it can't just you can't sit it in the truck. I don't know what the fuck, right? I don't understand this. I don't understand having mortars in the truck. If you're trying to blow something up and you're trying to cause enough devastation to a target, you're not going to use a mortar or mortars sitting in a vehicle. You're not you or if you do, you're going to improvise it, right? That's why they have improvised explosive devices. So they will take mortar shells, right? They will take mortar shells and they will modify it so that it can be triggered in a different way than it was intended. It's an improvised explosive device. They have to improvise it because they can't just set it somewhere and set it on fire and expect it to explode. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if they're I don't know if it's going to come out that it was an improvised explosive device, but they're just saying mortars right now, firework style. Was there any other kind? Now, this is always funny to me. As police continue to investigate whether what took place was a malicious act, the sheriff said he does not believe there is any further threat to the community. Jimmy says they should have said it was an RPG, set it off. Yeah, that would make more sense. But even with an RPG, you still need to have a certain level of pressure, right? See, they designed those things so that they don't explode just all willy nilly because you have to carry them around. They're on your vehicle, they're on a plane. They got to get jostled. They got to be able to be knocked around a little bit without it going off. You know what I'm saying? Now, do some go off inadvertently on accident? Yes, but those are faulty, right? Those shells are not just going to go off because a truck caught on fire, right? They're just not going to do it. There has to be a point of contact and enough pressure, right? Because you don't want to accidentally set those things off, right? They have to be triggered properly. Now, it was always funny when these things happen and they say, "Oh yeah, yeah, we don't think there's any further threat to the community." How you know that? How you know that? Are you done with the investigation? Is the investigation completely 100% complete? You've gone through all the variables. You contacted all the witnesses. You talked to people. You narrowed down all the suspects. How can you say that there's no further threat to the community? Rocket RPG rocket works like heat ammunition. It is like a jet stream, not like a movie. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a rocket propelled grenade. Grenades don't let off a big old fireball. Like yeah, it's more. Yeah, you're right. Now, the sheriff says we believe everything is safe now. What gives you that belief? Are you done? You done with the investigation? It's all complete now. This it always kills me when they say shit like that. But they did say that the property is subject to frequent threats and heightened security given its connection to President Donald Trump. Of course, right? Of course. So there you have it. Two incidents in close, chronologically close together. And they're saying that the suspect identified as U.S. citizen. Yep, we already went over that. He was a Army veteran. Yeah, so I mean, it is what it is. That's what happened, guys. Yeah. Oh, there was a boat explosion in Florida. Wow. There was a boat explosion in Florida. One dead, five hospitalized. Mm-mm-mm. What is going on? Boat explosion in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Mm. Well, I don't know. Don't know what happened there. Maybe I'll touch on that. Mm. The man that was killed was from Quebec, Canada. So that's what we got, guys. Yeah, there was a boat explosion in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Yeah, GTA 6, exactly. So listen, like I told y'all, y'all just stay vigilant. Y'all gotta stay vigilant. Y'all gotta stay vigilant, stay prepared, head on a swivel, stay frosty, all that good shit. Make sure you are equipped, make sure you're trained, make sure you have emergency supplies, make sure you have a nice trauma trauma kit, first aid kit, all that good shit. Yeah, just y'all just look out for yourselves, man. Look out for your family. Don't expect the government to keep you safe. It's not their job. It is, yeah, it's not the government's job to keep you safe. It's not. It simply is not. So, yep, y'all stay up, man. I might be coming through later to do a live on some boxing shit. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe not. We'll see. We shall see. Anyway, y'all stay up. Much love. Like, share, subscribe, and we're gonna keep marching forward toward freedom. Peace.